it's time for us to be writing equations. This is not going to be a time where I actually solve the equations, that will come later, but writing the equations and specifically using variables is going to be an important part of what we're doing right now. Writing the equations, it's important to know what an equation is. An equation is a number sentence that shows that two quantities are equal. So you have a left side and a right side, an equal sign in the middle. And you want to show that the left side is equal to the right side. Equations may have variables or numbers. Ours are going to have both right now. As you continue on in math and get further along in math, you'll find that many times there are more variables than there are numbers, and sometimes it's all variables and no numbers. And so it just depends on what level of mathematics you're at. Equations will have operations. Operations are add, subtract, multiply, divide. And they will have an equal sign. You can actually see the beginning of the word equal right in here in the word equation. Different than expressions in that the expressions did not have equal signs. That's how you can tell the difference between an equation and an expression. They're very similar, but an equation will have an equal sign. Lots of clue words that can be used as you look at story problems and try and write equations. I'd like you to look at the slide here, and I'd like you to press pause and put all of these words or groups of words into the operation that they would go with. So go ahead and pause, and I will talk to you after you're done giving this a try. All right, welcome back. I'm going to take each of these and put them into your slides here. So if you take in all, that's going to be a thing where an opportunity to add everything that's in there all together, just like in all. Take everything that you have and put it all together. 8 is something that you would, maybe you had a certain number of donuts, then you ate 2, so you would have to subtract those 2 that you ate. Sum is what the answer is when you add, and difference is what the answer is when you subtract. Shared, where you take what you have and give it to someone else. That means you're going to have less, or you subtract from there. Equal amounts is going to be usually dividing. You take something and divide it into equal amounts. So you take your total and divide into a certain number of groups. Speaking of groups, that'll be something that you use a little bit on multiplying and sometimes on dividing. Each, many times, is an opportunity to take the things that you have and divide them each into groups. Quotient would be the answer when you divide. More is going to be similar to groups of, where you have, sometimes you're going to take something that you start with a certain amount and then get so many more. So that would be an adding. But you also have times when you're comparing two, and you say this one is more than the other. And you want to decide how much more it is. So that more can be used both ways. The product is the answer when you multiply. Gave away would mean you are sorry, I'm having some trouble here with this. There we go. Gave away would be taking the amount that you have and then subtract again from the amount that you have. Times is used with multiplying, and per, for instance, miles per gallon, would be dividing. So as you see these words and other words that are similar to them, you use those to decide which operation to use in your equation. Okay, let's go on to a story problem here and give it a shot. read the story problem, write an equation for it, then explain what the variable represents. So here's your problem. After 7 people quit on the tennis team, there were 30 players. How many players were on the team to start with? All right, so quitting, that was not one of the words we had on the previous slide, but it's a clue word nonetheless that tells you which operation. You have to think, am I adding to the team? And that is not the case here. When people quit, you're not adding to the team. This would actually be the opposite, where you're subtracting from the team. You had a team, 7 people quit, now you have 30 players. So this would be a subtraction. You know that you're subtracting 7, and you have 30 left when you're done. So the equation would look like this. Start with P, that's your unknown, and that's where you put your variable, or you whatever it is that you do not know. Subtracting, because they quit, 7, that's how many players quit, and now you have 30 players. So 30 has to be equal to the number of players you started with minus 7. Okay? Alright, so we're half done. We have to explain what the variable represents now. P is the number of players on the team in the beginning. Before anyone decided to quit. Alright, I'd like you to give this one a try now. Read the story problem and write an equation for it. Then explain what the variable represents. Bob paid $3 for breakfast and $5 for lunch, and then bought dinner. He spent $20 in all. How much did he pay for dinner? Okay. I'd like you to press pause right now, and I'd like you to give that a try. And then, when you're done giving it a try, press play again and see how it went. So here you have $3 plus $5 plus D is equal to 20. $3 is breakfast. $5 was lunch. And then I put a D for dinner. That's what I don't know. But I do know that they all equal $20. So what's on the left-hand side here? These 3 meals have to be equal to what's on the right side, $20. So I look at 20, or sorry, I look at D. D is the amount of money that Bob paid for dinner. Alright, so I hope that you're able to write equations. Our next lesson is going to be all about solving those equations after you're in.